Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho, and today I would like to offer the elemental energy reading for the element of fire for December of 2023. I read from the elements versus the zodiac. I'm not really comfortable with zodiac yet. I'm still working on that one. But I have a video in the description if you want to check that out as to why I read elements instead of the zodiac. It's just a little different way of looking at the world. So, and if you've not had your charts done, checking those out, then you'll see where your elemental energy alignment is, and that will help direct you a bit more which reading to watch. But for our fire brethren and sisters, we have Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are the zodiac signs that are covered. So, and we'll start this reading off with a I-ching hexagram, and I cast my hexagrams before I go to make the video because it takes a lot of time and it's just easier to do it beforehand. So for fire for December of 2023, we have hexagram 9, and it is the lesser nourisher. And the text is, the lesser nourisher, success, dense clouds give forth to rain. Dense clouds giving forth no rain approach from the western outskirts. The lesser nourisher is strong and gentle. The firm line in the center of the bottom indicates that our will is to accomplish and the success that follows. The dense clouds giving forth no rain signify that our affairs are going forward. What is said about their coming from the west indicates matters have not reached the point where action will be taken. So, we start from the bottom line and work up. And it's, how could returning to this path be blameworthy? Making sure that you're on the right path is the best option. There's really nothing that you're going to do if you're not on the right path. So double checking, am I doing the right thing? Using, divination if you need to. Looking at the signs, your gut instinct is usually pretty good about such things. And just paying attention to where you're at in the world and making sure that you're actually still focused on the goal at hand. So, in our second line, the next one up here, it's compelling ourselves to go back brings good fortune. Sometimes you need to check where you've been to make sure you're still going the right direction. And that's where they're talking about. So, looking back over the previous year, really, because we're in December now, have you done the things that you've been wanting to do? Are you still aimed in the right direction? Did you get distracted? Did you have to, backtrack and readjust? That's what the second line is talking about. So our third line, the chariot is separated from the spoked wheel. Husband and wife stand glaring at each other. Things may not always be the best. This is really talking about when there's, a little bit of a disruption in the household, frustration occurs. It's the holiday season. That's just kind of what happens in the holidays most of the time. And what's being said here is this is the time to acknowledge it, quietly deal with it, but don't let that change the direction of your relationships, the direction of your family, the direction of your primary goals. It's a situation, work through it, and move forward. That's what they're saying here. So our fourth line, this one right here, the first broken line, owing to confidence, bloody and terrible deeds are avoided, no error. So being confident in what you're doing, and that goes back to the last one as well, even if there are, husband and wife, you're standing glaring at each other, even if there is conflict going on, the terrible and the bloody and the horrible are unnecessary. Being confident, saying this is what we're doing, this is where we're at, hearing the other person's side of it, maybe coming to a compromise, but as long as you're really willing to work on the situation, willing to work on your goals, dreams, ambitions, there's really nothing wrong. It's gonna work out in the end. For the fifth place, confidence is a cord to bind the hearts of others. With it, we enrich our neighbors. So when you're confident and you can stand up and say, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, this is how we're moving forward, you're letting other people know you have a plan. You know where you're headed. You may not know every step. That's fine. You'll learn along the way. But you have confidence to know that you can lead this wagon train if you want to go there. But that's what they're talking about, is that confidence is you're throwing out the tail. Anyone wants to, we're going this direction. Anyone wants to go, grab on, we're heading out. And that's a confidence thing. And you'll notice there's people in your life, and you might be the person that does this, where you'll step out by yourself, or this other person will step out, and here pretty soon they've got a following. It's just they're confident in what they're doing. Not always how things turn out well. I mean, there's some prime examples of that. But the confidence is what brings you into that forward state. So our capstone here is the rains are falling and a time of rest has come. Virtue continues to increase at this moment. Persistence would bring serious trouble to women. Were the superior man to venture forth at this time of the full moon, he would be courting calamity. So they're saying during the time of the full moon, definitely pay heed to the signs and symbols. And when they're talking about, men and women, it's the masculine and feminine in the divine sense. So if during the time of the full moon, the masculine should definitely take a break. Don't push. And same thing with the divine feminine. The divine feminine is as you approach the full moon, slow down, take a pause, and don't push. That's really what they're saying. At this moment, persistence would bring serious trouble to women. So for the divine feminine here is saying, you don't want to be too pushy during this time, because things are not going to go well if you are. Working with compromise is where we're headed here. And the superior man to venture forth at the time of the full moon, he would bring calamity. So during the full moon, take a break, especially the divine masculine. That doesn't mean you have to be pushing forward, driving, go, go, go. Take that time to rest, recharge, enjoy the light of the moon, enjoy your family, because during that time you're really getting close to that period of Yule as well. So enjoy that season is what is coming forward. Don't stress out, divine feminine, as things are building up. Go with the flow. Don't push at it. Just do your thing. And it looks like December has around 4 weeks, so we'll go with that. We'll hop over to the tarot now. Tarot and oracle cards. And I read intuitively, just like with I-ching, so the messages that come through may or may not be the same as the messages in the little books. Tonight's, if you're interested in any of the decks that I'm using, they are linked in the description box below. And I read a guide or guardian, and that depends on what you need in that week, and you know that, not me. So and then we look at a message from source, which is a positive enforcement or maybe a little divine realignment that comes through. And then we look at a lesson or a challenge from the tarot. Again, it can be a lesson, something you should work on this week or could work on this week, or it's a challenge, something that the universe is like, hey, heads up, this could be coming forward at that time. So our first guide or guardian is the green gold dragon from Sirius. Brings universal knowledge to your spiritual pathway. Learn about spiritual technology. Be a transmitter of sacred knowledge. So this first week is really about you being open up front, and they're saying out loud about your spiritual journey. That doesn't mean being pushy with it, but if it comes up in conversation, there's no reason to really be quiet about it. You don't have to go into detail, but you may follow an alternative religious spiritual path. That's fine. And you can literally say that and it's acceptable. But you've got the green gold dragon from Sirius coming in saying, you're not like everybody else. I mean, you may want to be, but you're not. None of us are. So working with your uniqueness, especially in the spiritual sector, is the focus for this week. And the green gold dragon is saying, let me support you in your weirdness, so to speak. So this first week, just kind of enjoy the fact that you may not see the divine in the way other people do. You may worship a goddess, you may worship a god, you may go with nature. Just because you do it differently doesn't mean it has to be wrong. Could be. That's for you to decide, and that's for you to have that discussion with the people upstairs. But it doesn't have to be. And that's where the green gold dragon is saying, let's work together on this, and let's make sure that everything's on the up and up and heading in the right direction. So your message from Source is third eye activation, brow chakra, inner vision, clear seeing. So the message from Source is, as you're working with developing your spirituality, you're growing that inner sense of knowing. Be aware that during this time, this little section right here, generally right between your eyebrows up to your first little brow line, that is where your third eye resides. And so feeling a little bit of pressure there, feeling a little bit of aha moment there, because your pineal gland actually has optic nerves like eyeballs do. So there's some third eye activation going on this first week, and that's where that tapping into your spirituality and this is coming forward. But Source is saying, don't be afraid of your dreams. Don't be afraid when you start to notice things. You get those intuitive bursts, because it's going to be a little bit stronger when your third eye is starting to wake up. And you might even, on the odd occasion, hear someone's thoughts before they speak the words out loud. What they're saying is don't be alarmed by that. It's a natural progress of our spiritual journey. And in the future, could be 20 years, it could be 100 years, but in the future, verbal communication will actually be in line with telepathic or mental communication. So we are working towards that goal anyway, so don't be alarmed if that starts to really pop up this first week of December. Your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the Four of Wands. So it's the Four of... Whoops, better edit here. The Four of your energy, the Four of Fire. So with this one, because you've got the couple, you almost have like someone is trying to help you, but you almost don't want the help, or you're trying to help someone else and they're kind of like meh, they're ragdolling on you, because you see the lady in yellow, she's being semi-supported or encouraged to do something, but the person doing the encouraging is not having much success because the person in the front's just kind of ragdoll. So the lesson or the challenge here is, if you're the one that's ragdolling when someone's trying to help you, pay attention and figure out why you're feeling resistance at this time. It doesn't mean the resistance is wrong, but why are you feeling it? And if you're trying to help someone and they're just kind of like flopping and not wanting to do it, you've had dogs and you've had kids. Cats are unique in that respect, but you've had that where you pick them up to make them do something and they just ragdoll on you. So if that happens, are you pushing at this person, wanting them or wanting the situation to go a certain way, and it's just not doing it because it's falling apart? In that situation, really pay attention to your gut instincts. Pay attention to that third eye that's talking to you, because you might be pushing against something that needs just to sit for a minute, and that's where that persistence is not always a good thing for the divine feminine. So the I-ching work, I'll bring that into the reading as much as I can, because they do complement each other a lot. But that's kind of your first week, is just kind of pay attention to your third eye, your intuition. Don't be afraid of your spirituality, and pay attention to things that you are working. If you're feeling resistance towards doing, or if you're doing something and something keeps getting in the way, pay attention to those signs and synchronicities. So with our second week, we have the Golden Solar Dragon. Helps you stand in your masculine power with wisdom. Let your DNA be reprogrammed and light codes activated. Be an inspired leader. So the second week, and here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in our winter period, be in the sun as much as you can. Get that sunlight on your skin, even if it's through a window because it's cold outside. Be in the sun. When you're in the sun, the masculine, the more conscious part of your awareness is healed and elevated, and that's where the Golden Solar Dragon comes in. The sun is divine masculine energy, so it's going to stimulate especially the fire in you, because you are fire. It's going to stimulate that, but it's also going to work with healing the body in an etheric sense, But by healing the outer bodies, you fix a lot of the problems within the physical body. Louise Hay talks about that frequently. And that's where the sun is so powerful. The moon works with your subconscious, your intuitive, your more psychic senses, the divine feminine side of things. But the sun works with the divine masculine, the more physical aspects. And that's what's coming forward with the golden solar dragon, is when you tap into that aspect of yourself, you step up into leadership, you step up into your power. And that's what this golden solar dragon is going to help you with. The second week is stepping up into who you are. The first week was more expressing it, and the second week is now about, so far, about using it, being in your power, not just talking about it. So the first week was internal, the second week we're moving a little bit more outside outside of the mind and the body. So let's look at our message from Source. It is star gathering. The stars are aligned. Remember your home and your soul family. This is saying that your ancestors, guides, guardians, galaxy, galactic councils are all coming forward. They're coming here in this time to help you understand what it means to stand in your power. The first week, you were tapping into your third eye. You were kind of waking things up a little bit, or Source was coming in to be like, we're doing this. And they do it gently, don't get me wrong, but sometimes they push you because you're you're digging your heels in, or you're dragging your feet for no reason. That's what's coming forward. The second week is, this is why. You needed to open up, work with your third eye, and tap into that energy so you can understand it deeper, because your soul family is coming in. Your star galactic council is stepping forward. The angels and guides are stepping up. This second week is about being in your power, and they are going to help you understand that and help you see that in a much more clear way. And that can be a little intimidating, not gonna lie. But what they're saying is, we're going to support you as you step forward. We're going to help clear things out of the way. And it could be just in your everyday life, like being at home. You're stepping into your power. If it's divine masculine or feminine, being in that power is not a sign of weakness. When you are in the divine's guidance, your power comes from who you are. And that's what they're wanting you to understand, is that power is way deeper than what you might think to start with. Your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the King of Wands, still hanging out in your fire realm. That's pretty cool. The King of Wands, for me, symbolizes the finality. This is you at your crowning achievement. And with this, the way this week is lining up, you're really stepping into your power, and the King of Wands is saying it is okay to be in your power. Don't be abusive, and don't allow your ego to step up, because your ego is going to get in the way. That's always it's a tool, and it needs to be reminded that it's a tool. And that's what the King of Wands, it already knows who its ego is. It has dealt with it. It's now a servant, which is what it's supposed to be. And so the King of Wands is confident in its abilities. And that's where you're going with the second week, is stepping into your confidence, stepping into your abilities, because it's time for you to shine out. And it doesn't have to be major, like, oh, I started a Fortune 500 company. It can be, I stepped up and said, I want this raise. It can be, I stepped up and said, this is how I want to run this part of the house. It's just being able to stand in your authority and saying, this is what we're going to do. So hopefully these are resonating for you guys. On to our third week of December. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video if you enjoy this type of content. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts on any of this, really. And now we're on to our third week, and that is Water Dragon. This is your polar opposite. Helps you flow easily around obstacles. Christ, light, and love are flowing. Develop your psychic abilities and going with the flow. Just because you're standing in your authority doesn't mean that you have to be a blockhead. You can stand in your authority and learn to compromise. Going with the flow, tapping into that more intuitive side, is extremely powerful. If you look at the people who are really in positions of authority, they go with the flow. If they get too locked in, all of a sudden they start to fall off whatever board they're on. And that's why you have to learn to be fluid in your motions, and you're also working with that Christ light energy. So this is a divine healing energy that is going to help bring light to a situation. It could bring healing to a situation as well. So this third week is about clearing things out, really focusing on being able to compromise, being able to see the other person's side. If obstacles come up, you can dance around them, because the water dragon flows through water like a dancer across the stage. It's very fluid, it's very motion oriented, but obstacles don't pose a problem to the water dragon, they go around it. And that's what Source is wanting to bring forward for you as a guide for this third week, is learn to go with the flow and move, so that even if an obstacle comes up, you can dance gracefully around it and it looks like you had it planned that way all along. So let's hear what Source has to say in addition to that. We have Venusian Galactic Council, star being guides answering the call, and time to share. Still going with this message coming in of your guides and guardians are coming forward in this time to help you understand, help you see the glory of what is coming forward, to help you connect into a deeper level with your Galactic Council. If you haven't done that yet, that's fine, you don't have to, but they're saying that there is that option, and bringing your guides into a closer alignment with you. When you really tap into your intuitive side and you work with that water energy, even though you're fire, it's kind of the opposite of you. They showed me the word in my head and I can't actually say it. So, but that's when you start working into that, you're growing that relationship with your guides and guardians. So paying attention to your gut instincts, those daydreaming periods this third week, because you'd be surprised when you're just kind of like letting your mind wander, how much information your guides and guardians might be coming in and being like, tap, 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 hello. But that's when you start hearing it. It's that still small voice that comes up during those times of reflection and quiet meditation. And so you're working with water, you're working with intuition, you're learning to dance around the obstacles, and your guides and guardians are really stepping forward in this third week, more so even than the second week. Second week, they were coming up saying, hey, we're here to support you. This third week is, let's build a rapport, let's build a relationship. So your lesson or challenge from the tarot is number 21, the world. The world is at your feet. The world is your oyster. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with the gifts, the talents, and skills that you have? This is a major arcana card, so these are major life lessons. The world is saying that you have everything laid out in front of you. You have the buffet. What are you working with? What do you want? Through this month, it's really been about reconnecting deeper with who you are, stepping into your authority over your own life. That doesn't mean you have authority over another person. Never think you have authority over another person, because you don't. You have authority over your life. When you step into that power, you start to tap into your intuitive senses. Your guides and guardians and Galactic Council, they're really emphasizing that right now, are there to align with you. And then in this third week, it's about being able to dance around the obstacles, being able to dance through the situations in life and not be affected, because you're being very graceful with it, and you're dodging this stuff where everyone else is like, oh, he or she must have planned that way. The Venusian Galactic Council is saying, we're supporting you, we're helping you grow and understand, because the lesson or challenge is, you have a lot of things available to you at this time. What are you doing with them? What are you choosing? We're coming up on the new year, and this third week could also be a reminder to really start to focus on what it is you want to create with your guides, guardians, God, source, divine energy in this coming year, because that time is upon us. We're coming out of the quiet time, where in the old tradition, the Lord is in the underworld, the lady is in mourning. We're coming out, we're in the quiet time. This is the period of silence, where you recover, you reflect, then you start to look forward. This third week is reminding you to look forward, because you have options. And what are you going to do with those? So let's look at Whoa, that card literally just jumped out of the deck. Your fourth week, which is your last week for December, the last week of 2023. I cannot believe I'm saying that. That's the reason this card wanted to jump out of the deck. We have the Omega Dragon, the end. Harness the divine feminine power of creation. Intention, hold your vision, birthing the higher consciousness. As we come to the end of the year, the end of the month, the end of this reading, working with your divine feminine, because you've worked with the divine masculine a lot, and now that was the first part of the month. The last part has been more divine feminine, more turning inwards, but you're not working so much with your intuition, the watery aspect. The Omega is, now that you've got things started, remember your end game. Where do you want this to go? What is in the pie, or your sign in the sky? What is it you're going towards? The Omega is looking towards the end, the finality. That doesn't mean the final part of your life, but you're coming to the end of the year. You're closing the book on 2023. Has everything manifested the way you wanted it? If not, what did you learn? And if it did, what did you learn about how to make that work again? But it's really about tapping into that power of creation, because we all create. And I don't care if you can say you're the most unartistic person on the planet, you still create. Because creation is part of who we are as humans. And that's what the Omega Dragon is wanting you to remember, is the creation part is an aspect of both the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Working with the divine feminine is the birthing of the creation a little bit more so, but both parties have to be present for it to work. So the Omega Dragon is wanting you to look at this last year, bring things to a close in this last week. If there's hard feelings, go through a process of forgiveness. You don't have to talk to the person. If you can just leave them wherever they're at. But go through a process of forgiveness and release that. You don't need to carry it into the next year. Go through this process of letting things go that no longer serve. Let this last week be a period of a deep breath in and exhale. Just let it go. So this is where we're headed this fourth week. So your message from Source is Shambhala initiations, retreating to recharge, trusting the process, and Dharma. So tying into what the Omega Dragon was saying is this is the time for quiet. We're coming out of the period of quiet. Yule has occurred by this point. So the new Lord of the new year has been born. So things are starting to amp up, but you're still kind of in that afterglow of the new thing has just been born. New babies require a lot of sleep, a lot of peace, a lot of quiet. What is it you're bringing into this next year? That's why you were wanting to clear out the old, so that when you step forward into 2024, you're doing so with a more clear vision. You're doing so with a more clean mind, heart, and soul. So, is there anything else that wants to come forward? Nope. Okay. So that's just where they're at with that one, is just making sure that you're ready for the new year. Making sure that you have been through the process so that you know more so of who you are, where you're at. You'll always learn more. Do not think you'll ever get to a point where I know everything there is to know about me, because the universe is going to be like, watch this, and peels back another layer of the onion. So just be aware that that is part of that, and that's why you always are in a period of growth and change. It's what are you doing with it that's important. So your lesson or challenge from the tarot, my ear just started ringing, is number 3, the Empress. So we're still in the major arcana. So the end of this month reading is really focusing on lessons, tying more into that divine feminine, but you're in a position of authority with the divine feminine. The Empress is the power within the world, the feminine power within the world. The High Priestess is divine, not so much feminine power here, but it's the divine connection with the Empress is how I see her. This is the feminine manifesting itself into the world. That's creation. That is gardening. That is birthing life. What is it you want to birth in the coming year? What is it you have brought to life in the past year? Use this last week of December as a period of reflection, of looking back and looking forward. See where you're at, see how far you've come, and look where you're going in the future. So, with that, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here, and comment away. Let me know what your thoughts are. Even constructive criticism, I'm good with that, because we all have things to grow on, and I'm still, even though I've been doing YouTube and Odyssey for a while, still looking to improve. So I will let you guys go. Have a great month of December, and I will see you in the next video.